of. And then finally, just kind of start off with ratings, close out with ratings in college football. You mentioned the big number for Texas and Alabama. Huge ratings for Big Noon on Fox, 10+ million viewers on Big Noon Saturday. That topped the Notre Dame-Ohio State game the previous week that had 10.53 million. Texas-Alabama with 10.6, so just edged that out to become the most viewed game of the season. At one point, viewing peaked at 15.13 million.
Wow.
So huge numbers there, and big part of the reason why you're seeing all the shakeup in college football that you are seeing. But also notable, between Notre Dame and Ohio State, and then also Alabama and Texas, both broadcasts surpassing 10 million viewers. It was noted that this first time since 1994 that 2 college football games in the month of September have averaged over 10 million viewers. So that is notable. I've seen a lot of people taking victory laps to try and dunk on people mockingly saying, "Oh, college football's dying, huh?" and this and that. It's yeah, I mean, I don't think those were I don't think people were doubting the ratings effectiveness of Alabama and Texas or Ohio State, Notre Dame. I think people's complaints had to do with the fact that the people running the sport were basically just letting everything happen without doing anything to stop anything happening, and not so much about not being able to get TV ratings. So I don't know. I think that was a little dishonest and disingenuous on the part of some reporters who just want to dunk on Twitter people, I guess. But hey, good for college football. I think college football fans are ultimately rooting for college football. So good on those games.
You have 4 of perhaps the top 4 to 7 greatest brands in college football history, all combining to put together those numbers, and that's awesome. With Notre Dame, Ohio State, no matter who they've been recently with Texas and Notre Dame, those are dogs. Those are alphas.
Yeah, the complaints about college football are, to use a literary reference, it's more like the fountainhead than anything, because everybody's in charge and no one's in charge.
Yeah,
and, all these different things. So eventually somebody's going to just take, though I think we're scared that somebody like Howard Rourke and the fountainhead just going to blow the whole thing up. But doesn't look like it's going to happen. That's what our fears are. But it's not about the effectiveness of the greatness of the product. We know the product is good.
Yeah, we
know the product is good. We're just worried that the people in charge are going to wreck a good thing.
And no one said they will stop watching, a year removed from a bunch of changes happening. I do understand there's an audience in the NFL that said they would stop watching after Kaepernick and stop watching after this and after that, and they never did. They never stopped watching. And I'm sure there will be college football fans, or have been, that said the same thing. But I get really tired of people on Twitter taking 1 or 2 things and making it seem like a million people have said this or an entire fan base has said this. It's just so dishonest. And I guess you get the likes and you get that, with the endorphin rush or whatever, and it's worth it in the end. But I think it's kind of BS, quite frankly. And if anything, people were fearful that the whole breaking apart of college football to where their team was suddenly not going to be in the mix for a national championship, that's where I won't watch anymore if my team has no involvement whatsoever, came from, not from player, I never mentioned this. The biggest part of that argument is that the players getting paid part of it is the reason why so many people. That is BS, dude. That is so. There might have been a few people that said that.
No, there are.
Any people's complaints about NIL, for the most part, including on this very show, had to do with just the structure of it, not players actually getting paid. But yeah, college football is healthier than ever, especially when you lock these big brands together.
All right, here's one more note. Then I had someone send this to us on the text line. This the Jason B. Text about 1.8 million viewers for UCF in Louisville. And then look at this, became ESPN2's most viewed Friday game since 2013. Regardless of the day of the week, the matchup was ESPN2's most watched regular season game since 2017. Now, ESPN2, they have games. Look at it. You go to the guide, boom, 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 boom. But that's a pretty good note, too, for both of those schools.
I bet you they match it or beat it this Friday. Same Louisville team, Florida State plays.
Yeah, no, it'd be a hell of it. Florida State is still a brand that people love. You're right.
So bottom line is, all of us are college football fans, or most of us, and let's just be happy about that. I don't want to necessarily dive into ratings comparisons all the time, because I've warned about that, where you lose a lot of the fun if every week you start to line up did my conference get more ratings? That whole thing, you can kind of drive yourself mad. That's what I do. What wrestling fans did to themselves over the years. So just a warning there. But it is cool to see big ratings, and it's good for the sport. And, yeah, I think we all want it to be healthy, like I said. So there are a few things that are off the radar.
My correction.